put it to you this way. Do you try and just take the Widow v Widow, or do you already go in with a little bit more firepower?
In the beginning, you have to have the confidence, set yourself up for that Widow on Widow action. If your blue is leading the charge, if he's finding those picks early, you don't really have to change anything. You don't have to commit any more resources to that. And then it's on Hong Kong to make the adaptation. So this first map is a major tempo setter in terms of which Widow sort of sets the pace of this game.
Well, right now we're going to be looking at City Center first, and I was about to say, hey, is Chinese Taipei going to be coming out there at the Hammond? It would be great to just see the Hammond just swing around the inner circle over and over again, but it doesn't seem to be happening this time around.
Unfortunately, not yet, although Hong Kong considering potentially a Zenyatta and Ana setup, not a support setup that we see too often here.
Yeah, this is a little bit off the wall, but Hong Kong has also been pretty comfortable in running compositions that are less than standard so far in the Overwatch World Cup. We'll see if it works out here. It's not quite the super mobility set we've seen on City Center from time to time, but for now, already, both teams engaging.
I certainly want to see Shaolin get really aggressive here, pressure these two supports. They're going to really struggle to survive in the way that a Brigitte might.
Bowie right now already in the Widow v Widow, and it's a very close range Widow v Widow. Looking, not quite able to connect, and oh, Blue gonna grab him on the other end. Of course, I think the DAC was a little bit stacked against him there. That was a lot of people flanking on the outside, and Bowie simply did not have the support. And now we see Chinese Taipei just swarming onto the point. They're gonna get first control.
Bowie certainly hoping to get there unscouted. Now finding Miko on the flank. And he'll be cleaned up there. Great team movement by Chinese Taipei, overloading that flank, as you said. Blue just SMGing Mui down. Eventually finds the headshot, but just, as you said, overwhelming team presence. This is the risk of running an Ana and a Zenyatta. You have way less mobility, no mercy to quickly jump to wherever the fight breaks out.
Well, not only less mobility, but how big of a target is the Ana here for Chinese Taipei, where they can very easily dive in on her?
The struggle here is that either Ana or Zen are really effective dive targets. Widow and Hanzo sort of add to that list, so Chinese Taipei has an excess of options. But as I say that, Mui strikes first blood in this fight.
Mui getting back on track here, sets up for the easy 6-on-5. See what Hong Kong does fall through. Chinese Taipei still dominating on the ground. They almost get am crazy, and they do! They use a post bomb into what is no doubt severe overkill. Bowie under pressure here to the side, not able to get away and take too much health, and the Primal Rage certainly sealing the deal. And Hong Kong, you really pick, this just hasn't been so effective for them here so far.
Mango Jai, though, finding a tank, overextending a little bit with that Primal Rage, although he's able to be rezzed up. That's the power of the Mercy here. Valkyrie providing so many resources to the side of Chinese Taipei.
Miku right now was looking to the left now, decides to go back to the right, holding on to the Dragon Strike. Jazzy, though, falls. Chinese Taipei continually diving on the relatively squishy and immobile backline that we're seeing. And Miku, I mean, he's looking for arrows here, but what do you really do?
I mean, Mango Jai tries to save him with Transcendence, but the bubble blocks that healing, doesn't allow him to save the Ana in time. Mui forced to make a swap onto the Sombra, need to change things up here, but this is going to be a really tough road back into the round here. Miko with the Dragon Strike, but really no combos to speak of.
And that just feels like a really nice setup here for Chinese Taipei, where you force the best player in the other team to go to Sombra, not the high-impact Widow, and now they just simply sidestep out of the way of the Dragon. They continue to hold control. 91% is theirs, and Shaolin gonna go into the back line, sticks the Ana, easy stuff. Jazzy out of the fight, and Shaolin not done yet. Looking for Hanzo, Miko out of there. A nice double kill coming in from Shaolin, and that could be enough for Chinese Taipei to secure the round.
Just an incredibly dominant round here from the side of Chinese Taipei. It feels like they had Hong Kong's number time and time again, whether it was on the Widow duel or the aggressiveness with these dives. They're going to clean this round up. Easy peasy, great plays by Shaolin.
Overtime, not quite over yet. Bowie was able to add a little bit of extra time to it, but even as Hong Kong gets this last moment delay, just they don't have positioning, and they're certainly not able to get the pickoffs. Strong opening here for Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, this is why we see so much mercy. Honestly, this Valkyrie is just so powerful. The ability to save your fellow supports or perhaps your Widowmaker when they're in need. We saw how that failed for Hong Kong without that mercy. You know, the Ana not able to save the Zen and vice versa, being able to be split apart by the tanks of Chinese Taipei. So great awareness by them, punishing those very greedy support options from Hong Kong.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the Ana would have worked if Hong Kong was able to get the first fight and the Ana was able to post up a little bit higher?
Certainly high ground is a major advantage for Ana, but I certainly would be worried about that pick no matter how the round went with that Widowmaker still on the field. I mean, Ana is always terrified to scope in when there's that Widowmaker threatening her, and that really limits her ability to play to maximum effectiveness.
All right, well, now we're going to be going to the University. We have some big swap-ups from both sides. Bowie, though, still going to be sticking to the Sombra.
A very interesting strategy coming out here from Hong Kong. Electing to go with the Sombra as opposed to the traditional Diva in the 3-3 setup. They're chasing here, but Shaolin is just completely destroying them from the sky. Looking for a knockout.
Why would you approach that? That's so scary. Could have booped off so many people. Shaolin doesn't quite get it, but still lays in plenty of damage. And Hong Kong, even as they lose this fight, that could have been way worse.
Certainly Shaolin was very close to getting a complete team kill with a concussive mind, but this looks like an easy mid for Chinese Taipei. Shaolin almost with a barrage ready for the next fight, just cleaning up supports here.
Shaolin still making the most of the fight, but man, that was scary for Hong Kong. And certainly now I think they're gonna have to look to back up, regroup a bit, and I would hope for their sakes not challenge on the outside end again so long as Shaolin is in the air.
I mean, if there's one saving grace for Hong Kong, Mui was able to get very close to that EMP. I don't think Chinese Taipei is gonna expect this. An EMP here on the Zenyatta could set things up for a nice retake.
Blue gonna go back a little bit, almost has the dragon. And to your point, Mui does have the EMP up. Oh, YO's out. Here comes the barrage. Shaolin tries to even it up, gets hacked midway through. That's the EMP coming in. And Hong Kong off the EMP to make this more even, but 10-10 cleaning up the Earthshare from a Ting, setting up Chinese Taipei to bring it on back, EMP or no.
It looked like a good EMP, you know, shutting down that barrage from Shaolin, but at least he was able to get Miko before the EMP came out, and at that point, it was already enough value. You know, from the side of Chinese Taipei, they don't need all of their players alive. They have different options, different players for the Mercy to pocket. For the side of Hong Kong, they really need everyone together, and they're switching to a McCree and a Mercy here, maybe giving them a little more options against the Farabut. Wow, first pick on Crazy S. That's a major opening.
Yeah, Crazy S is gone, and so is Shaolin. Two huge threats out of the fight. This should be Hong Kong's set, but damn Crazy got caught by Ting. It was a clever little charge on the side. However, I don't think it's gonna be enough. Ting had to give up his life for it, and this is pretty much all Hong Kong. And that just seemingly happens when you give up one early pick for free. Things snowball out of control real fast.
Yeah, great heads-up swap from Miko and Mui, going to a composition that gives them more answers to this Pharah. I wonder if Shaolin will maybe switch to something else here. Maybe he feels like he can just deal with this McCree now that he's ready and waiting for it.
I think for Shaolin right now, Hong Kong, even if they're running the McCree, they haven't really proved they can challenge it that much. So why not at least run it one more time?
Exactly. Miko has been so dominant on the hit scan so far. But let's see if this Graviton combo is coming through here with no answers on the side of Hong Kong. It looks like, though, Mui setting up for it quick. Oh, gets detected.
Oh, Mui got way too close. He might be losing this battle to the Zen. Super low, and Zen goes down, but Blue able to make it at least a trade. The arrow from behind. Meanwhile, Miku, Deadeye up. They just need to break the shield. Are they going to be able to do it? Skull's up. No, don't quite connect. A counter grab now in, and Chinese Taipei might not have enough to make this happen. It's Crazy yes, over the top. He's his own DPS option. Starts going back to heal Shaolin, but not quite in time. Hong Kong gonna hold.
Complete brawl on the point there, but unfortunately 10-10 committing the Graviton Surge after Blue was already picked by GZQQ's Graviton Surge, and with no follow-up, they aren't able to get the kills as quickly as they need. Supports come back, and that's a fight for Hong Kong, exactly what they need to retake this round.
Meanwhile, you take a look at Mui, and this is where EMP can be pretty good. You win the ultimate economy battle by getting one good EMP to set things up. Mui right behind, just raw drops in. They're going to be looking for a Ting. They immediately take him down. Hong Kong knew where their bread was buttered, but Shaolin over the top drops a barrage, evens it back up. Now 4-on-4. Chinese Taipei going to get the res back onto a Ting. They're moving back onto that point. Miko, though, has to cancel the Deadeye. Knocked down by the Earth Shatter, and Chinese Taipei suddenly brings it right back on in.
Yeah, Blue looking so uncontested on the point here. Great decision to solo Shatter the McCree. Just get him out of the way, cap the point as quickly as possible, and they haven't even let it get to 99.
Oh man, it's high noon until you're knocked on the ground, I suppose, as Chinese Taipei, they retake the point, and now we're heading to what could be a one-fight margin between both of these teams.
Yeah, this could be Hong Kong's last chance, and essentially nothing in the bank to work with, expending all of their remaining ults that fight. Wow, great awareness by Blue, catches the Sombra with that infrasight.
Blue. Again, just looking for the pick off. That'd make things real easy for Chinese Taipei if he's able to get it, especially on the Jazzy, but Chinese Taipei gonna hold back. Blue off on the flank, a lot of damage going in. Miku almost picked off, big charge and Tits and Crazy early on. First pick off the Chinese Taipei, and 10-10 continuing to suppress, moving on back. A Tang with the Earth Shatter, that could be the finisher. And Chinese Taipei just gonna roll over Hong Kong towards the very end. Mui, it's a last desperation delay, but simply not going to be enough. Overtime ticking on down, and that's going to be Chinese Taipei taking map number 1.
Certainly feels that a Ting has the edge in this Reinhardt battle, constantly finding these pins, finding those openings, even late in the fight when he's already lost some teammates. He's bringing things back once in a while, so props to a Ting really coming up huge here.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the focus coming in for the tanks, especially from Chinese Taipei, where they decide, you know what, we're going to go in on Crazy as much as possible. And, you know, if you're working with a team and your main tank is getting focused that hard and he's out of a fight early, what does that do to the rest of your team and trying to react to that?
Anytime you're on a Ryan Zarya based composition, those characters are the core of your team. If they fall to the opposing Ryan and Zarya, you're dealing with a massive difference in Graviton Surge Charge and Earth Shatter Charge, and that can be so hard to overcome. We saw how impactful those ultimates were in that round of University. So great play by Chinese Taipei, staying around their tanks, and I like their DPS choices. More shield-focused damage. With the Sombra on the side of Hong Kong, that's just a much more difficult execution to achieve. We saw some EMPs come out, but with limited effectiveness, OYO doing a great job hiding away from the EMP, coming in to save his team with an effective trance.
Yeah, I mean, OYO, he was really far back, where I think he was just trying to make Sombra make a choice, right? Where, all right, you can EMP and give me, but you're not going to get the rest of my team. And you don't want to give that sort of dream EMP, right, where you hit all 6 players and the Zenyatta, and you get the Zenyatta, because it's pretty hard to actually bring a fight back after that.
And this is what makes the EMP so hard to use against an experienced team. You see Zenyatta's hiding like this, it's very difficult to deal with because, as you said, you're in a double bind. You can't get the Zenyatta and all of his teammates. If you take the Zen, there's also the chance that he could just react and trance before the EMP actually lands. Of course, it does take some time to apply.
And don't forget, too, with the Sombra, you're also investing a lot into that EMP, where if you're going to the back line, even if you do get the Zenyatta, you're going to have to recall back, and you're still out of the fight for a while. So, okay, you're going to eventually get the 6-on-5, but for a while, it's still a 5-on-5, and the other team could just dive on in and equalize.
And using the Hanzo and the Pharah, you're always going to have a massive advantage in shield pressure. Partially, that's probably why Ating was so successful on this map. His DPS always pressuring the shield, while the opposing DPS are, you know, maybe concerned with flanking, getting behind, going for hacks. If those don't work out, you're at a really big disadvantage in shield trade, and when the shatters come online, that's a real worry.
All right, well, let's take a look at what the next map might be. Maybe a little bit better for Hong Kong. What could it be? It might be Kings Row, the way things have been going here. And what's it going to be? Eichenwald.
Ooh.
So this is what
Is this
happens.
the first time we've seen Eichenwald so far here?
It is, and I think it's the first time where I've made a prediction as opposed to you, and I'm immediately wrong. So, you know what?
I'll stick to the predictions.
Yeah,
here,
you just need to stay to the predictions. I'm just going to sit over here. That'll be fine. I'm not sitting, but hey.
Still, I'm excited for Eichenwald. I love this map. Very, very different stages between point 1, 2, and 3. You're going to see a whole lot of different compositions come in. The dive so strong on second. On first point, you really see maybe some Pharah, but also the Ryan and Zarya. So really a lot of interesting compositions here. But I have to give Chinese Taipei the edge. They're playing around these Ryans so effectively.
Right now, I would almost say that Crazy has been public enemy #1. Now, going into this right now, it looks like Crazy might be going to Winston a little bit more, where, yes, Winston can get focused, but they can also get out with a little bit of HP and actually punish a team for focusing quite as hard. So for Hong Kong, I do wonder if this is a better change-up.
Exactly. Maybe the dive suits them a little more. Give Crazy a little bit of those anti-focus mobility tools. But Chinese Taipei, they're sticking with what works, going with this classic Ryan Zarya composition. The Mercy to support the Pharah. Pharah is so strong at defending this first point. You can just peek over those rooftops time and time again and constantly harass the attackers. They're essentially rushing through this constant barrage of damage even before the rocket barrage comes online.
It is an interesting map choice for Hong Kong because I do kind of feel like they played into the strength of Chinese Taipei, where if you're evaluating what they've looked best at, I would make a strong argument that it's been Shaolin on the Pharah.
Certainly, I would have loved to see maybe a more Widow-centric map, give Blue a chance to shine, or excuse me, give Miko and Mui a chance to shine on a more DPS-focused map. But on a map like Eichenwald, Crazy is going to have to step it up, outplay Ating and 10-10.
Uh-oh, Chinese Taipei, they might be getting a little bit sneaky here, Jake, a little bit cheeky.
Yeah, I think just going for a little bit of ult charge, attacking the spawners here. But here we can see, look, the damage already coming in from Shaolin. We're going to constantly see him peeking over the high ground. And with no major hit scan to speak of on the side of Hong Kong, there's really nothing to stop him.
Yeah, I mean, they're running the age-old classic of, well, we're going to ignore the air and just try and win the ground war. But ignoring Shaolin really hasn't been an effective strategy today.
Certainly. We've seen how much damage he can do when he's left unchecked, especially on these enclosed map types.
Already at 43%, the Legend of Shaolin continues here. It's a little bit of damage, both tanks on both sides getting a little bit into it. Louis gonna go in on the Moira, going to the back side. Oh, Blue just tags him, the flick right to the face. Meanwhile, though, Miku on the point, Shaolin in trouble, and he's gonna go down. Mango Jai gets the anti-air as the Ana, and Hong Kong's aggression starting to pay off.
Nico getting a lot done though, shut down by OYO. GZQQ committing hard here. Can he find the finish? Looks like he can. Wow, great cleanup by GZQQ. Pushing his health to the limit, but he gets it done.
And I do think this dive from Hong Kong caught Chinese Taipei a little bit off guard. They did not give Shaolin the time to just sit on top and get rocket after rocket.
This is certainly an incredibly unorthodox competition. Chinese Taipei perhaps caught by surprise by this very rare triple healer setup.
Shaolin almost got bopped again. I think that was Mango Jai just laying in the darts from afar, just barely able to get out, but he does have a rush up for the next fight.
10-10 getting a little bit baited here to chase down Jazzy, of course, saved by his Ana. Sometimes it does work out.
We'll see what Shaolin's going to do here. Of course, right when you're going through that gateway, that's a good point to just drop on it. The barrage. Ooh, Miku gets tagged. Meanwhile, Shaolin still up. GZQQ trying to be suppression here, but he's a bit far away, going to back up to the rest of his team, and now this gives Shaolin so much space to set up.
Now this is where we're going to see the real power of Farah. She's going to be constantly over the top of Hong Kong, splitting their attention. Do we look up? Do we try to dodge rockets? Or do we try to figure out where Blue is on that Widow? It's a really tough double bind to be in.
That's a lot of pressure on the Diva. No! The Diva a little bit late there, but better late than never. Still gets in Shaolin's face, gets the pick off. 5-on-5. Blue gonna be the one that has to bring this back as DPS for Chinese Taipei. On top, looking for pickoffs. Hong Kong now starting to transition a few more people over to the point. It's Mui pushing it as the Moira. Diva gonna come on in and join, and Mango gets a take. They punish the dive in Hong Kong. Now they can turn the tables.
The Nana boost onto Am Crazy, ready to go very deep, clean up these kills. OYO on the Moira, a very surprising choice here against Mango Jai's Ana. That Bio-Nade, so dangerous against Moira.
Yeah, and it is interesting where you think Moiras just don't respect the Anas quite as much because they've been non-existent for so long.
Certainly. I mean, it's not something people think about every day, how powerful that anti-nade can be, but Blue here, stealthily in the flank, he looks completely unscouted. Can he find the first pick of this fight?
He's looking for it. He had the chance, doesn't quite connect. Now, going for the Winston, but all he did was just alert him, make him mad. He's going to dive back the other way, and all right, you've drawn the attention of everyone quite deftly, but not sure if it was fully worth it. Hong Kong, they get the pick off on the Widow. They're going to take the fight inside the castle. Does he get the knockoff? Not quite yet, but it does force out the Primal.
Getting the opponent's Winston's Primal out of the way after using heroes, very important. But OYO coming up on a Covalescence, if he can stay alive towards this 100%, it could be a major turning point.
He's pretty close to it. The crazy S is down to get the OYO. No, he's immediately down. Miku was there. Didn't matter about the regen while Coalescence was up. Immediately bopped as Miku now finding room to work with here. Mui on the point. Hong Kong, they're a little beaten right now, but they're still very much in this fight. Shaolin, though, is on cleanup on the back, floating back on over. Wounded, but not quite down. GZ needs to go in the anti-air duty. Doesn't really see it. Now finally does, but the opportunity could have been down as Chinese Taipei now starting to get back over onto the point.
Crazy S comes back, lives just long enough to full heal Shaolin. Can he use it? Only on 1 HP now. Getting a barrage in. Is it? Oh, it's perfect.
Oh, the barrage takes down both tanks and the Zenyatta. Shaolin waited for his opportunity, waited for GZQQ to be looking the other way, drops the barrage, and that was big.
Selfless team by Crazy S there. Flying in just long enough to die, but fully healing Shaolin, and Shaolin with about 25 HP getting that massive barrage to hold second point. This can be a major turning point. It's so hard to get back on that cart when it's pushed this deep.
Yeah, he's just like, do I still have HP? That's all I need. I only need 1 HP to come in here and make this happen. Hong Kong now on the full reset, but they do have that nano boost in reserve.
Exactly, ready to pair it perhaps on one of the tanks here. GZQQ could use it. Oh, but sniping on, he has no designs on using the nano, just wants to get in there as a pure hit scan.
It's like IDPS, drops the nano though, right on the Am Crazy. He's powered up, he's making some space, diving back the other way, looking for the Moira. Miku on fall through for all the people he's damaging right now. Gonna have to pop Primal, no, he can't pop Primal in time. 10-10, bursting him down, and Hong Kong now has no choice but to let this one go.
Exactly, barely dying before getting that Primal available. Shaolin dropping so low, but the Mercy's heals constantly on him, keeping him alive here. The Ana is applying so much pressure, not the hit scan matchup we normally see here, but it's working a little bit for Hong Kong.
Shaolin just able to stay alive. Miku though, taking on Blue. Miku's been big here so far, but now he's getting chased down by 2. Blue, hot pursuit, doesn't want to lose this one-on-one, and this is really the sort of Tracer mini game while the rest of the fight is being played outside.
Now, very chaotic fight here. Both teams sort of split apart by this Tracer action in the backline. But maybe this is why Chinese Taipei favors the Moira a little bit better in these chaotic scenarios. It's not a Zen who you're so worried about constantly protecting.
Miku is still behind enemy lines. I think he finally was able to break away from the main fight there, but this has been a little bit late. Oh, he's trying to ninja the cart, but the rest of his team is up front.
Just making sure the cart doesn't roll back there. It's a very important, underrated strategy here. 10-10 though, great counter dive, protecting Shaolin and his barrage.
Am Crazy goes with the Primal, but already almost burst. Winston. Blue blows up Mango Jai on the other side. It's a soft stick, but it's a good one. Looking for the Zen, picks him on off, and Chinese Taipei, good, solid cleanup, and we're down to the final 35 seconds. Hong Kong only with one more attempt at this.
Miko again into the back line. They're trying to chase him down. I don't think he's going to be able to make it out of this one. Yeah,
nope,
Blue
not at least.
down.
So they're staggered even more. What does it mean when you can't get good positioning going in for a final fight like this?
This is part of the struggle of running the composition with the Ana and the Zenyatta. You struggle to support those aggressive high ground takes by your tanks because you don't have a Mercy to follow them up. Hopefully this Nano Boost can turn things around.
Mango Jai holding on to Nano. Blue, though, got Mui. There's not going to be any Widow Savior walking through that door. Mango Jai drops the Nano onto the Winston. Am Crazy leaps in. And again, looking for the Moira, zoning around the fight. But GZ's already gone. So even though he did get the Moira, the rest of his team is just falling. The Nano Boost, long gone. Shaolin laying in the rockets. Winston's out of there. And Chinese Taipei, they're going to be holding this right here.
Very strong hold coming out from Chinese Taipei. Nice adaptation to go to the Mercy Moira. It's not a support composition we expect to combine with this dive setup, but at the same time, it really offers a lot of utility against the Nano Boost. We saw how many times the Mercy was able to save the Moira because of the power of that fade. Look, Shaolin dropping so low here, but all the health he needs apparently.
What did you think about Am Crazy's target selection of the Nano Boost, where it seemed like he was really focusing the Moira on more than anyone else, where even at post-fade, he would still chase her down, even just kind of ignoring the rest of the fight?
It's tough, but it's sort of what you have to do. That Moira heal is so powerful. If you if you go on anyone else, let's say, the Moira is going to instantly be behind you, constantly healing that target. And with your, slow chip damage, even with the Nano Boost, you'll never get through them. So you've got to take that Moira out before you get anybody else. But we saw OYO just barely sustaining through with his own heal orbs and with the pocket of Crazy S. So great teamwork there to deal with the Nano Boost. I mean, I think that's the best Am Crazy can do, but it just wasn't enough here. Needed some clutch Bionades or maybe a bit more damage from Miko.
So now we swap rounds, of course, and the best chance for Hong Kong to turn this around and even up the series, it's going to be a first point hold on Eichenwald. And, historically, when you've seen first point holds in Eichenwald, what really constitutes a good setup to make that happen?
It's certainly doable. You'd expect a very tanky composition, perhaps something with an Orisa and maybe a Widowmaker. A few picks can really set the offense back, but it doesn't look like they're going to go for that. Sometimes the dive composition can work too, if executed properly, but this first fight is going to be really critical. Of course, Chinese Taipei looks like they're setting up for maybe a core tankier composition, maybe a 3-3 potentially. Hard to say on the offense, but they're very well teched for what Hong Kong is running, so I'm certainly worried about the boys in red here.
Yeah, it seems like to me Hong Kong's going for the idea of let's just build EMPs and go for that sort of ultimate economy advantage where you get an EMP, then you support ults, and you keep going back and forth, but it seems pretty difficult to pull off here in this situation.
It's a very difficult composition to play effectively, and comparatively, the ease of execution is so simple for Chinese Taipei. One stun, one pick could really turn the fight in their favor.
Chinese Taipei, of course, running a heavily tanky setup. The old 3-3. Goats are among us here. 3 support, 3 tank, and they just immediately go into the point. And now for Hong Kong, it's how do you evict them? You already let them on through. You didn't get any pickoffs. Have gotten 1 tick for free, but they almost get OYO. If you get the Moira, that's one way. They dive on in, but he was able to get back and protect it. Brigida, though, out of the fight. Hong Kong has at least pushed them off, but when you lose the Diva, now you can't dive in quite as hard. And suddenly Chinese Taipei able to muscle their way back onto the point.
10-10 charged up, so dangerous in the scenario. If you can't take down the Zarya, you just won't outlast her in a long fight. High energy Zarya, one of the most dangerous characters in Overwatch, and what a clean first take from Chinese Taipei. Understanding the compositional matchup, run to point, they are the defenders now, and Hong Kong forced to dive into that small cubby. They do find one, but honestly, that's above expectations. So difficult to take down all those tanks in that enclosed scenario.
Now, let me ask you this. What do you think about running the 3-3 into point B? A lot of teams will run in, then they'll get stopped. Do you agree with running it until you at least get stopped once, or do you think people might be considering swapping now?
When you win first fights that hard, you don't want to change composition. We see how many ults are at that 70-80% scenario for Chinese Taipei. They want to get one big ult cycle off before they make any swaps. I like this decision making, although I agree though, if they do get stopped, if they do commit these ults unsuccessfully, I would like to see maybe going back to a dive-year composition.
All right, Chinese Taipei going to be focusing on the payload. Hong Kong moving straight in, but the problem is they're diving into a composition that loves being dived on. They're not trying to poke them out too much from afar. And Grav is out of the fight, and yet Chinese Taipei still holding on right now. Hong Kong, they've dove into the belly of the beast, and guess what? They're getting devoured. Chinese Taipei, they're still holding on. They dropped the beat, and they're starting to push Hong Kong right off of the payload.
And Crazy falling. That's the only defense against the Ting's Shatter. He's just constantly pushing the card here. And if you think about it, that's the best case scenario. GCQQ eating 10-10's grab, and they still can't take the fight. It's hard to imagine how Hong Kong comes back into this.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part where GCQQ just looks at his team is like, team, question mark? Gets blue off the pickoff, but the payload's already gone so far. Even if Chinese Taipei gets wiped here, this would be a great opportunity to go, all right, use your ultimates. Now we're gonna swap to our real power. Barrage comes in from Miku. It's cleanup, but I almost think that Chinese Taipei might be okay with this.
Yeah, I mean, you do want to switch your composition here. I would have loved to see a little bit more defensive play from Blue there, flying up on top of the castle into the waiting arms of 6 Hong Kong players, instantly dying, and then Miko is completely free to barrage. So Blue showing a bit of inexperience on the Diva, more of a DPS player, maybe hasn't experienced exactly how to play versus this Pharah composition yet.
No, we do have full swap-ups here for Chinese Taipei, so I do think that they kind of just accepted that barrage there. It seemed like, we don't really care. They've gone for the full swap-up. You have Blue on the Widow here. Mui, though, hot pursuit.
Certainly, this movement to high ground, so effective, so annoying for Sombra to deal with. So difficult to retake that high ground, you know, committing the Translocator so risky. But using the scouting, Miko finds 2, opens things up with the Tracer. Great work.
It's an early pick up here. Hong Kong looking a little bit better, but Chinese Taipei turned it into more of a brawl right now. Shaolin on Tracer himself, under pressure, able to rewind, gets out of the fray. OYO, so low and yet not finish off. Miku wasn't able to get the final part there. And now Chinese Taipei slowly making this fight their own. They're gonna get the D-Mech. Blue is back in for the support, and he can just dink the Winston here if he's not looking. Goes over the top, looking for that shot. Winston gets out of line of sight. Look, Mui coming around the outskirts. He's looking for Blue. Blue already repositioning, even though he doesn't know he's there. And Chinese Taipei, they're just one fight away.
Blue getting turned on by the Sombra. Oh, and barely saved by the Lucio. Great teamwork there. Although this is a last-second contest scenario, Hong Kong has to commit everything to the card, even their bodies, their lives. At least Blue falls, but no, not able to contest the point. Chinese Taipei taking Eichenwald. Great compositional decisions from Chinese Taipei. You have to hand it to them. They played that smart. But if you're Hong Kong, you need something new. Their strategies don't seem very effective to me.
You know, I gotta say, too, I mean, not only do I agree on that from Hong Kong, where I think they're getting outcomped a lot here, I have to give all the credit here to Chinese Taipei, where they have not committed the sort of contenders faux pas, where people just like 3-3 all the time, never swap. They basically did exactly what you said, where you run it, you get stopped once, you come back in with the full swap, and it was very much to their advantage.
Exactly, and you know, so surprising. We saw the dive go about as well as you could expect from the side of Hong Kong. 2 opening picks very quickly and committing the Covalescence, but somehow not able to convert that into tank kills. Those tanks were so healthy late in the fight on the cart, there was just no hope to really evict them from that position. And at that point, it was really just Hong Kong running in one after another, just trying to contest it, trying to keep this match going.
Now I have to ask you, why do you think we saw Mui end up swapping over to the Sombra, where he's been so good on the Widowmaker? Is this just a moment where they feel like they needed more of the utility from the Sombra to control, even with him being so explosive on those hit scan characters?
Perhaps it's a lack of confidence. You know, maybe they want really directly to switch to that Lucio and Moira, that support composition that's a little more effective to go super aggressive all as one. And in that composition, maybe the Widowmaker doesn't fit as well, but I would like to see Mui bring that Widow out. He's been so strong on it so far at the World Cup here. I need to see more Widow from Mui. I mean, to turn this game around, they need something crazy, and sometimes you just put your faith in your best Widow player and say, take us away.
All right, well, speaking of taking us away, we got Golden Boy with Mango Jai down on the floor. Let's see what he has to offer.
Okay, so Golden Boy down here with Mango Jai from Team Hong Kong. Now, Team Hong Kong currently down 2-0 right now against Chinese Taipei. But Mango Jai, wanted to ask you about, you know, I guess like the experience so far, and anyone that you've talked to that you guys have learned from here in Incheon. Any pro player?
虽然现在已经有点小小落后啊，有点小输台湾队嘛，就是中华台北队。那想要问一下，说你有没有在这一次的仁川站，就是世界杯，有没有找一些其他的选手聊聊，然后去学，或是说有没有其他招你看到你觉得可以学起来的？什么意思？就是其他的就其他队的选手，不一定是台湾队，也许其他还有南韩队啊，都可以学。
韩国队的 Jonah 吧，因为他跟我的定位也是一样，都是腹部和尚位置，然后他的打法也是很狂啊，准度也很够，所以他就是一直以来都是我的学习的对象。
了解。So probably Jonah from South Korea, since they play Zenyatta they play the same role. So he thinks just by watching him play, he learns a lot from him. Yeah.
Awesome. And now, you know, it has been a difficult tournament so far for Hong Kong. What are they hoping to change going into games 3 and 4, you know, after the half?
因为一开始有一点苦战，对不对？所以，可是我们还有2个地图，所以呢，现在开始有没有想要就做一些改变，或者有没有策略上的一些调整？
主要是我们要减小那个会战时候的死亡率啊，
Okay.
就是尽量避免到就是还没打就先丢血这个问题。对。
Okay, so one thing that he noticed from the first 2 maps is like they died way too early in the game, so they want to avoid that. If they can avoid that, they think they're fairly confident.
Well, I would definitely say you definitely don't want to die first. So that is 100%. Thank you so much, Michael Jai, for your time, and Jing, as well as always, for the excellent translations. That is going to do it for us here at the floor. Coming up next, we're going to have games 3 and 4. Let's see if Hong Kong can put a win on the board. Oh, Chinese Taipei, close it out. See you on the other side.